The fight's done.
Fight's done already?
Done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Eddie, the fight's done?
What?
He's saying the fight's done. It's done, huh?
His Excellency wants to make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll deal with some business, but...
Chisora, over to you, mate.
With the one and only, the marvellous, the beautiful Derek Chisora. What a night we witnessed. You've had these nights. What an incredible fight, Derek.
Conor Chris delivered. You know, I say this before. I was like, whoever loses this fight is gonna tarnish the dad's name. Nah. He can walk out there. Conor can walk out there, head up high. You know, go home to his family safe and sound. Because the fight was just beautiful. I enjoyed it, and I'm happy to see a rematch.
Derek Chisora explodes with fire after the war between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, praising the carnage but throwing down a chilling warning. He says Eubank Jr. might have escaped this time, but if he dares step in again, he won't survive what's coming. According to Chisora, Conor Benn is sharpening every weapon, and in the rematch, he'll flatten Eubank and leave no room for debate. He calls the first fight chaos, but promises the next one will be destruction. The message is crystal clear: get ready for violence, because Benn's revenge tour is just getting started.
I believe it's a draw. Go fight it. Nobody needs to lose today. It's a fucking draw.
Delivers a scathing reality check, tearing into Conor Benn's excuses and labeling his defeat as pure exposure. He mocks Benn's pre-fight arrogance, claiming the rematch thing. Benn cracked under pressure, got outboxed, and looked lost against Chris Eubank Jr.'s precision. And now, with the rematch nearly locked in, Harlem warns fans not to expect a different outcome, only a faster, more brutal finish. According to him, Benn's hype train is finished, and Eubank Jr. is coming to bury whatever's left of that reputation.
I think there's a rematch in the contract, so yeah, there's no doubt that they'll run that one back and do it all over again.
Adam Smith unleashes a fiery take on the highly anticipated rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, calling it far more than unfinished business, it's war. He applauds Eubank Jr.'s brutal comeback, saying it proved once and for all that he's still operating on an elite level, even after immense pressure. Meanwhile, Benn's obsession with revenge is spiraling. Smith warns that this isn't just about pride, it's about legacy. Both men are fighting with something to prove, but only one will leave standing. When the bell rings, it won't be strategy, it'll be survival. The countdown to carnage has already begun.
I think Conor wants it next. Eddie was talking about maybe going down in weight, and I think that if they want to get it on, they do it again, you know, in 6 months' time, and we will come back.
The pot, taking shots at Chris Eubank Jr., accusing him of dragging his feet out of fear. He paints Eubank as a man dodging destiny, implying retirement might be his coward's way out. But let's cut through the noise. This is classic smoke and mirrors. While Conor Benn barks louder than ever, claiming he's smarter and stronger, the truth remains: he was broken once and he'll be broken again. Eubank Jr. isn't scared. He's calculating, dangerous, and ready to finish what he started. Hearn may hype Benn's revenge tour, but deep down even he knows, when the bell rings, it's Eubank who brings war, and Benn who will drown in it again.
Conor Benn has got that activity which has plagued him for a long time. We believe he'll be stronger, sharper, and better in the rematch, and looking to overturn the result. So in our mind, nothing else but a Chris Eubank Jr. rematch, and Conor Benn ready.
Floating with rage, refusing to let his defeat define him. He's not backing down, he's gearing up for total war against Chris Eubank Jr., and this time, it's personal. Benn blames inactivity for his previous performance, claiming that was just a shadow of who he truly is. But here's the twist: this rematch is no longer about redemption, it's about destruction. His obsession has boiled into madness, and insiders warn he's transforming into a vicious machine with only one goal: vengeance. However, no amount of fury can erase reality. Eubank Jr. already crushed him once, and next time, Benn's rage might lead him straight into another brutal downfall.
Revenge, man. All my revenge. I think inactivity played a big part. It's quite hard because obviously the past 2.5 years, what had gone on, not fighting back here to then coming home to this. It was
Trainer and seasoned boxing analyst Adam Booth ripped apart Conor Benn's excuses, declaring the loss had nothing to do with weight and everything to do with being brutally exposed on the big stage. Booth revealed Benn looked spent early, mentally broken, and utterly out of his depth as Chris Eubank Jr. executed a ruthless, methodical dismantling. It wasn't brute force that crushed Benn, it was Eubank's cold, calculated dominance. On the other hand, respected boxing expert Spencer Oliver backed Booth's view, labeling it a one-sided boxing lesson that exposed Benn's lack of elite experience. Eubank didn't just beat him, he dissected him. The truth? Benn was never in the fight. His hype collapsed under the weight of real class. Eubank Jr. didn't survive the test. He passed it with flying colors, turning Benn's ambition into an unforgettable humiliation.
Box anymore, because his legs weren't working.
yeah.
He was throwing a lot of shots, but nothing had any real power or snap because he didn't have it in him. And so he couldn't force his size advantage on Ben, and Ben showed balls. He stayed there.
Boxing analyst Sam Jones isn't holding anything back. He fires off a controversial take that's shaking up the rematch narrative between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. While most see Eubank as the clear favorite, Jones flips the script, declaring that if both fighters were naturally the same size, Eubank wouldn't stand a chance. He tears into the first fight scorecards, calling them misleading, and argues that Ben gave Eubank far more trouble than people are willing to admit. Moreover, Jones claims Eubank's victory came from size advantage and timing, not skill. On the flip side, he believes Ben has evolved. He's faster, more calculated, and ready to unleash hell. With revenge burning hot, Jones insists Ben won't play safe this time. He won't box, he'll destroy. According to Jones, the second fight won't go to the judges because Eubank Jr. will get exposed, broken, and beat.
But look, the rematch is going to be enormous, but I just think if they were the same size, it's a mismatch in my opinion. But like, look, they gave the two men, gave the fight fans one of the best fights ever, and I've got a lot of respect for Eubank and the Eubank name. But listen, I stand on it. I think Conor will beat him this time. I know I thought this the first.
Trainer and elite boxing strategist Jonathan Banks brutally shredded the narrative surrounding Chris Eubank Jr.'s win over Conor Benn, labeling it a savage, cold-blooded dismantling. He didn't just praise Eubank, he glorified him, calling the performance a tactical execution of the highest order. Banks raved about Eubank's chilling composure, relentless discipline, and clinical ring IQ, claiming this wasn't just a victory, it was domination dressed as art. Moreover, Banks torched the excuse makers, shutting down myths about Eubank crumbling under pressure or being drained from weight cuts. According to him, Eubank thrived in that chaos, exposed Benn's desperation with surgical counters, and turned wild aggression into a public unraveling. Ben didn't look brave, he looked lost. Now the real question lingers like smoke in the arena. After witnessing that level of destruction, who in the division has the spine to face Eubank Jr. next? Because the fear is real, and it's spreading fast.
I was happy. I already knew what he could do, so it wasn't impressed, wasn't about it. But I knew what he could do, and I'm happy he done it. He was listening, and he did exactly what I thought he'd do, and I'm happy about it.
Chris Eubank Jr. unleashes a scathing assault on Conor Benn, ruthlessly torching any illusion of peace or mutual respect. This wasn't a jab, it was a brutal annihilation of Benn's credibility. Eubank didn't mince words, no handshakes, no reconciliation, no pretending. The reason, Benn's drug scandal isn't just a slip, it's a stain that, according to Eubank, poisons the integrity of the sport. Moreover, Eubank refuses to associate himself with what he sees as a shameful betrayal of boxing's code. For him, this is bigger than bad blood, it's about principle, legacy, and the duty to protect boxing's honor from those who taint.
I never respect him, and I can't break bread with him, I can't shake his hand, because there are kids that are looking at this fight and this whole situation with the drugs.
The door shut on any talks of peace with Conor Benn, declaring their relationship shattered beyond repair. He doesn't mince words. Benn's actions clouded by controversy and honesty from Benn, there's no redemption, no closure, and certainly no respect. This isn't just about two fighters, it's about legacy, integrity, and setting a precedent for the sport. Eubank refuses to move forward while lies linger in the air. Meanwhile, boxing analyst Spencer Oliver doubled down, backing Eubank's stance and warning that the boxing world is watching closely. This is no longer just a feud, it's a war for truth, and Benn's silence is the loudest.
It's not forgotten. What he did was unforgivable. And if you were ever going to forgive him, he has to come clean about it first, which he hasn't. Until that day, me and him will always be, we will never be okay.
Jr. brutally dismantles the hype surrounding Conor Benn, calling the entire fight a reckless mismatch that never should have happened. From the opening bell, Sr. saw Benn as a lamb to the slaughter, completely outclassed, outgunned, and dangerously overhyped. He tore into Benn's desperate weight-cutting strategy, branding it a shameful gimmick that insulted boxing's traditions and risked serious health consequences. On the flip side, Sr. proudly hailed his son's relentless conditioning, supreme discipline, and fight IQ, declaring no shortcut or circus act could ever close the gap between a real fighter and a fraud. According to Sr., Jr. exposed Benn not just physically, but mentally. The fight was never competitive, it was a clinic, a cold, violent reality check.
You saw that. Junior is too big a man. These weights that they are flouting they're destroying.
Ripping apart the idea that Chris Eubank Jr. clearly defeated Conor Benn. In Sim's view, Benn was the real warrior. He dictated the pace, brought relentless aggression, and forced Eubank onto the back foot. He slams the judges for what he calls a disgraceful robbery, insisting Benn's heart and hunger were overlooked in favor of a technical illusion. Sims is already plotting revenge, promising that in the rematch, a fully focused Benn will erase all doubt and end the debate for good. The burning question is simple: will Benn chase titles or chase vengeance? But here's the brutal twist: even as Benn sharpens sharpens his arsenal, Eubank Jr.'s experience, ring IQ, and ice-cold composure remain a nightmare puzzle to solve. The rematch might be coming, but so is another reality check, because legacy favors the smarter fighter, not